Hey, Frank Kern here. Welcome to this video about the Core 4. This video is going to walk you through the Core 4 methodology, which is really based on how to get more customers by doing the exact opposite of what people are telling you to do. A couple of things about this page that you're going to notice is a countdown timer at the top. That deadline is real. Below this video, you'll see some details about the training. I still urge you to watch this entire video so you can really get a clear picture of what this is and how this is different from what you've seen before. The first concept that this is all based on is simplicity. Over the past 22 years now, I have helped over 82,374 customers basically do three things, which is to become well-known, build a list, and then sell them stuff, meaning sell the list a lot of things. And that's what the Core 4 really is about. It's just really doing those three things in the simplest way possible. And the methodology applies to, in my opinion, everybody. So what you're going to learn in Core 4, it's been used in just about every type of business you can think of. Unless you're selling something that nobody wants, this is directly relevant to you. So obviously the people who have used this kind of methodology are marketers and stuff, and coaches and agencies and people who sell courses and things like that. And really almost every big name you've ever seen online is in my customer list. So most people who teach marketing today are on my customer list and have been for years. But it's not just marketers and stuff. So what I'm going to share with you in Core 4 is used by e-commerce stores. One of my most interesting clients sells, last I heard from him, about $500,000 a month worth of stuff that removes dog pee stains from your rug. So it's like obscure stuff like that. It's relevant to that. Of course, traditional businesses like realtors, lawyers, CPAs, dentists, doctors, financial planners. I've worked with tons of clients like that. This is definitely relevant to those types of businesses. And then real businesses. This applies to real businesses like furniture stores, liquor stores, gyms, retail, brick and mortar. It works for home services like junk removal. One of my clients is the New Zealand version of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So they do that type of thing. We had great success using what I'm going to share with you in their business. Remodeling contractors, funeral homes, and even like stranger, not even a funeral home, a place where you store the urn of someone who's been cremated. And so this stuff has been used to really, really grow that type of funeral home, which is kind of interesting. But the most interesting and unusual of all is I was talking to my team, and we had an actual pet psychic also use this methodology. Seriously, a pet psychic that helped you communicate with your deceased pets, which is crazy. So all sorts of businesses this is applicable to. For example, one client, this is a fellow named Josh. Josh had a software company. He sold it and he wanted to help his father grow his remodeling business. Now, this is a text conversation I had with Josh. What's interesting about this is Josh lives in Florida. His dad lives in South Carolina, and his dad is not an internet person. And everything you're about to see happened in COVID. So Josh became a client. I was walking him through the Core 4 methodology, and I'm checking in on him. And as you can see, this is his response to me saying, how's it going? He says, I want to give you a little update. We got 5 projects under contract, totaling about $780,000 in revenue at a 35% margin. And then he goes on to say he's got some more coming in. And if you look at the last sentence, he says he's turned the ads down to only $10 a day because they had to hire somebody, a project manager, to handle all the extra work that was coming in. A couple weeks later, we followed back up, and he says, I have 7 signed contracts totaling about $950,000 in remodeling work. And this is the most important part of it, in my opinion. He says, this is going to be my dad's best year ever. I pulled back on some of the marketing because we're still evaluating the current PM. That stands for project manager. And so what's really phenomenal about this is, number one, they're in totally different states. Number two, this is a remodeling company, but really interestingly, number 3, which is all of this happened during COVID, like right at the beginning of COVID. So this was a non-essential business. It's home remodeling. The economy was in the toilet, and they're still doing well. Here's another interesting story about how the Core 4 worked out really, really well. I had to fire myself, literally, deliberately fired myself with this one client. So this is a terrible picture of me and this guy, Rob. It's not a bad picture of Rob. He's on the right. I'm on the left. It's a still shot from a video. As you know, you can never get a still shot from a video that doesn't look dumb. So this was the least dumb looking one. Rob looks pretty good. I think maybe it's just me. Anyway, in 2019, Rob hired my company to run Facebook ads for his furniture store. And for us, you can see the date on this thing. It's June of 2019. And so things were working out pretty good, right? So, sales are up, two different stores. And then, he goes on to say sales are up again. And you can kind of see on the screen that was June 15th of 2019. Now, the challenge was we quickly realized that we weren't able to spend a lot of money on Rob's ads. Not that he didn't want to, it's just that it was a local market and there wasn't a lot to be spent there. We didn't have to spend a lot. So I literally fired myself because I like Rob. He's like cool and it was an ethical thing to do. I said he was paying us $2,800 a month. So I was like, dude, there's no point in paying me $2,800 a month to spend like $500 a month on your ads. It just doesn't make sense. I'll just do it for you. We become friends anyway. So he's like, all right, he didn't mind. Things were going well. So like a month or so, or I'm sorry, not even a month or so, like the following year. Now, so this text is from 2020. He gives me a call. I missed the call. I'm like, hey, dude, did you just call me? What's going on? He goes, yeah, man, we had a big sale day yesterday. He's asking if I know anyone that can help him build a website. I'm like, I don't know, get somebody on Upwork or whatever. But the cool thing about this conversation is he says, we just did 12K yesterday over the phone. Now, look at the date there. That's April 3rd from 2020. Again, right in the middle of COVID. So what was going on is Rob was getting people interested in the furniture. He would literally do FaceTime with them from his store and show them the furniture in the store, and then they would deliver the furniture to the people. And they did 12K in that one day. And then he goes on, and this is from April 6th now. So, it's about 3 days later. He's like, did 5,500 today. And I'm like, man, that's great, And then on April 10th, he's like, dude, we're at 28,000 or 29,000 for the week. And then on April 15th, again, this is 2020, middle of COVID, you're like $40,000 in 15 days. We ain't even seen these customers. This means they're all new people, by the way. It's not repeat business, and they haven't even been physically in the store. He's doing everything over FaceTime from his iPhone. It's crazy, And then finally on April 30th, he's like 70 grand this month. And I blacked out profanity, so he's like, screw Rona, but a different word, So I'm like, man, that's cool. So when I was putting together the slides for this, I texted him and I was like, hey, dude, I'm building slides, and this is for a webinar that I was building. I'm like, I want to talk about your story and basically tell everybody what happened. And then I'm kind of joking around and saying, then I'll talk about how you crushed during Corona and I'll take 100% of the credit and basically say I'm a genius. And he's like, dude, that's awesome. Go for it. And check this out. He says, our February is up 154%. For the year, we're up 89%. I'm like, man, that's great. He says, dude, this year will change my life financially for sure. That's awesome, right? And so those are like a couple of examples of non-marketing related businesses that you really wouldn't think of that are doing really well from the internet. Here's another one, and this is a guy I've never actually spoken to this dude, but this dude is awesome. He just sort of he and I just talk on Instagram chat. So he's been a customer for a long time, and notice the arrow there is pointing to his followers. He's got 1,245 followers as of the day that I took the screenshot, which was recently, right? So this dude sells wine, delivers wine in Queens. Super nice guy, by the way. So check this out. Look at the date, by the way. It's January 6th of 2020. He's like, dude, got close to 1,000 new clients last year. This is for wine. That's 3 new clients a day. We have an 89% return rate. Goes on to say that's an estimated increase in revenue. That's $200,000, and that's recurring. And then I blocked out the strategy he mentioned there. And then so, about 5 months later in 2020, he says, hey, I want to let you know another successful week, 21 new clients so far, which is great. And then he goes on and notice this is a year later. January 2nd of 2021, then he's talking about a holiday promo. He's like, it worked again, as well as posting multiple times on different platforms, making a call to action, this time asking people to stop by the physical location rather than ordering online, 100% more revenue on both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which is great, right? And the reason I'm showing you this is because in all of these cases, this isn't a flash in the pan. Like all these people have been with me for a long time, and the stuff that I'm showing you in this 4 core stuff, it has continued to work, and that's why I'm showing it to you. I also get random and completely unsolicited messages from customers on Instagram. This dude, I've never spoken to him in my life. He's like, "Yeah, last year I was struggling to find a job as a Facebook media buyer. I invested in your material and was finally hired because someone saw potential in me. After a year of implementing your stuff on 15 accounts, I was given a 50% increase in my salary." Man, that's amazing, because essentially what I teach is how to use this four core methodology. And he went and did it for other businesses, working for an ad agency, and he got great results for his boss's clients. And because of that, he got a 50% raise. And, I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing I am, which is, dude, you should go open your own agency. That's what I would do. Here's one. I don't think this dude even bought anything. Guy's name is Callum Roche. He wrote this book here. And he says, "I just wanted to tell you, I got my first 10K day after 3 long years of struggling. I found you a year ago. From applying your principles, there's a lot of free content. It's paying off now. When it rains, it pours." I don't think he's even bought anything. Callum, dude, buy my stuff. But here's the deal: like with all of these guys, I'm not telling you you're going to make this kind of money or anything, especially with these two dudes. I don't know these guys. I mean, for all I know, they're just random people. So it's not like I called their accountants and said, "Okay, let me verify these sales figures." I'm not trying to make an income claim. Really, the reason I'm showing you all of this stuff is to indicate that, this stuff that I'm sharing with you in the core four methodology, it's applicable to all types of businesses. I mean, I've been doing this stuff since 99, 82,000 and counting customers. This is pretty well proven. And the secret number one I want to share with you of why this stuff works is do less. Seriously, like, do less stuff. All right, work smarter, not harder. So tell me if this looks familiar, right? So you're trying to figure out ads, maybe, or you're trying to post a lot of content on social media, and then you got to try to figure out automation, and you're like, well, what do I do to convert? Should I write a long form sales letter, or should I do a webinar or something, or should I do a VSL? And then what do I say in my emails? How many should I send? And how do I build a funnel? And then it just ends up being totally overwhelming, and that sucks. And here's the deal. All right. There are only 4 things you need to do, period. That's it. And so here they are, by the way. Number one is get attention. We'll talk about that in a minute, because the advice you're getting about that is wrong. And number 2 is get a lead, right? Number 3 is make an offer. And number 4 is follow up. Literally, it doesn't matter what type of business you are. If you want to use the internet to sell something, all the way from legal services to toothbrushes on Amazon, this is pretty much the quote unquote magic formula. This is it. These are the only 4 steps, period. 22 years of research gone into this. This is it. So the question is, if it's so simple, why is it so hard? And the reason is because you're getting bad advice, terrible advice. Let me walk you through it, and more importantly, give you better advice so I can help you during this video. So let's look at the expert advice around the concept of getting attention. Right. And so, first of all attention is not good attention. You need to get attention with intent behind it, meaning you need to get the attention of people who are interested in buying your stuff. And you need to get their attention in a way that makes it obvious that you have the solution to their problems. That's thing number one. Right. So, like, attention isn't necessarily by itself good. We have to have like a reason for it. And then under that category, folks will say, well, you got to have a laser targeted niche, and then you have to like create perfect content. Then you have to post 1 billion times on social media, and you have to get a lot of followers. And all of that is horrible advice. Absolutely horrible. Here's the deal. All right. So what they tell you and what they actually do, here's the difference. So what they'll tell you is, man, you got to create perfect content. You got to look professional. It's got to be great. That's absolutely wrong. You have to create authentic content. The reason I know this is A, experience, B, research, right? So this screenshot, and it's deliberately blurred out, not by me, but from the source. This is from a presentation that the ad agency Ogilvy did. So you might be familiar with David Ogilvy. He's one of my heroes, but they spend $1 gazillion on research. And last I checked, they do about $800 million in revenue every year. So, they know what they're doing. And this is from a presentation they did about social media marketing. And the point was that when you're trying to look fancy, the consumer, they can't tell the difference between you and other people. So when you're trying to look like everybody else, you don't get noticed at all. So all that stuff about like trying to, posing with fancy cars, planes, mansions, making everything about you, that doesn't work. That's terrible. You don't want to do that. No one pays attention to it. The second thing is people tell you to post a billion times, like, man, you got to be out there all the time, all the time, all the time. No, you don't. You should not be out there all the time. That's terrible. That'll drive you crazy. You don't want to live on the phone. There are three types of posts that you make, period. And you only need to make one of each type a day, give or take. If you skip a day, you're going to be okay. If you do more than three in a day, you're going to be okay. But there's only three types of posts that you ever need to make, and you could get away with doing one of each per day, max. That's what I do, and it works pretty good. I'll show you how it works in a minute. The third thing about getting attention is they tell you should get a bunch of likes and followers. That is the worst advice I've ever heard. You don't want to do that. It means nothing. I'll prove it to you in a minute. The solution is to actually create what's called an engaged audience. Now, here's why I say this. All right, here's the deal. Like, just use Google. Okay, so I'm just taking screenshots of my Google search results. It says right here, the average reach for an organic Facebook post. That means if you're like making a post and you want your followers to see it, it's 5.2%. That means if you have 100 followers, 5.2 people are actually going to see the post at maximum. And then look at the second sentence. It drops to 0.08% if you have more than 100,000 followers. So why would you want to invest time and energy into getting a bunch of followers when hardly any of them are going to see your stuff? It's not any better with Instagram, by the way. According to shortstack.com, 10% of your followers on Instagram will see your post. All right. And then here's another point. This is a little more recent. So you notice that second screenshot was from 2019. Here's one from 2021. It says your Instagram feed isn't only based on who you follow. It's also based on the accounts and types of posts you liked historically. The more the Instagram algorithm thinks you will like a certain type of post, the higher it will appear in your feed. So the magic word here to getting attention and getting noticed and building a big brand and building a big name, so you can therefore convert that into a list and convert them into customers. The magic word is actually something called engagement. Not followers, engagement. Okay. So here's how social media actually works. All right. Let's say John here, okay, sees one of your posts. He's not your follower. He's just some random person, sees something you post on social media and he engages with it. That means if it's a video, he watches a little bit of it. Or if it's a post, he like clicks to read more or leaves a comment or leaves an emoji or forwards, like whatever, he like reads your stuff. Okay, so that's real simple. As soon as that happens, Facebook's algorithm is like, dude, John just looked at someone's post. Now, the reason this is important to Facebook and Instagram is because engagement, if someone's engaging with content, they're spending more time on the platform, and that's how Facebook and Instagram make more money. So the longer somebody spends on Facebook or Instagram, the more ads that person is going to see and the more money Facebook and Instagram make. The end. So Facebook and Instagram love it when people engage with your stuff. So what they'll do is as soon as John engages with your stuff, Facebook and Instagram algorithm, it's the same company, they have 10,000 data points on every user. This is according to research, 10,000. So they know, like, if someone clicks on one of your posts or reads it, they know what kind of content that person reads. They know what kind of stuff they buy. They know what kind of comments they make. They know what kind of content they post. They know, like, where they're from, what their age, their gender, their shopping history, everything. 10,000 data points. So what Facebook/Instagram's algorithm is going to do is it's going to say, okay, look, this dude, John, he engaged with this post. He spent a couple extra seconds longer on our platform. This might make us more money. Let's use these 10,000 data points, go through all 2 billion of the people, or more than that, really, all the billions of people on our platform. And let's see if we can use this data to find more people just like John. And then let's show them your content, because if they engage with it, that means we've just increased the average amount of time that somebody is on our platform, and that'll make us more money. And that's how the entire system works. That's it. And that's why followers are irrelevant. It means nothing. You want what's called an engaged audience. All right. And so this is a screenshot from my account. So anytime somebody engages with one of your posts, you can actually, like, you don't have to do anything. You just say, hey, show me how many people are engaging with my post. And that's called an engaged audience. Only you can see this. So it doesn't look cool. It's not a vanity metric. It's not going to make you look fancy, but who gives a damn, right? You want to get leads and customers. You don't care about looking fancy. So like right now, the screenshot shows 260,000 people have engaged with my stuff over the past 30 days. And this is why I can do something like this. All right. This is why this type of stuff happens. So here's a screenshot of my Instagram account. All right. So as of like when I'm making this for you, I have 81,000 something followers. So if this is the case, and if about 10% of your followers are supposed to see your content, according to that one article, that means that everything that I post, it should be shown to about 8,000 people, right? Well, look at this. This is from the last 30 days. Every single one of these posts from the last 30 days have gotten way more than 10%. In fact, it's like, almost triple. This I did a little averages there. It's about 230% more people see my stuff, and this is for free. Why? Because I don't give a damn about followers. I'm not trying to get followers. I'm trying to get engagement. And by the way, right, it's nothing fancy. Like, here's a post that I made. And this was a post. Remember earlier I told you there are 3 types of social media posts you need to make ever, and that's all. And if you make one of each type per day over time, you're going to do pretty good. One of them is called an offer post. This one is an example of an offer post. Notice it's got my website in there. Notice the date. So I made this post, no ad spend. I just made this post on Instagram on February 9th. Here are the sales that post generated on February 9th, $2,249. And you see there on the little, where the arrow on the left, it says the source is org. That stands for organic. That means no ads. It came from that post, right? That's crazy. So there's 3 types of social media posts you need to get attention. One of them is an offer post like I showed you. You don't need to do it a billion times a day. You just need to make at most one of each type of post every single day. Don't worry about followers. Don't worry about trying to look like everybody else and having gold-plated Lamborghinis or any of that kind of stuff. So the next step here is to get a lead, right? And so getting a lead just means getting someone to raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm interested in your stuff. Right. And so that could be getting someone to call you. It depends on your business type, so that could be generating a phone call or having someone schedule an appointment. For most folks in the internet world, it's usually opt in for a report or register for a webinar or whatever. So when you look at the advice that's given around this whole concept of getting leads and what to do with them, the stuff you're hearing is freaking horrible. Okay. So here's what people tell you. And then here's reality. All right. So what people tell you is, look, man, you got to have a really professional opt-in page. Like, this thing's got to look cool. It's got to have testimonials, bullet points. You got to tell them exactly what they're getting when they opt in. Nope, not true at all. Been testing this stuff since 1999. Best converting opt-in page ever so far to this day is a headline with a button. It has won every single split test I've ever run ever. Here's an example. That took about 27 seconds to build. Nothing fancy. You don't need to do all that fancy stuff. No need to make this harder than it needs to be. And by the way, I wish fancy worked. I'd love it if my stuff could look cool, but it doesn't convert. It makes me less money. So I'd rather have the money than look cool. I don't know about you. Here's another thing you hear. All right. Well, if you're going to make a lead magnet, that's the thing they're opting in for. You need it to be amazing, and you want that to do the selling for you. So if someone's opting in for a free report, it's got to be like unbelievable. And that data, that thing they're opting in for, that's what's going to make them want to go do business with you. Well, that's not even remotely true. And the reason why I know is because most people don't even read the thing that they opt in for. The reason I know this is because I've tested it. I ran a test, had 1,000 people opt in for something, and measured how many of them actually downloaded the free thing they opted in for after receiving 4 emails over the course of 4 hours. Under 30% of them actually downloaded what they asked for. That means 70% of them, actually a little more than 70% of them, never even read it. So all this perfectionism around the thing that you're giving away for free is a total waste of time. Here's another one. This is the worst one ever, probably. Don't email people too much. Don't email them too much. You're going to make them mad. Here's the deal. Most people don't read the emails anyway. Do you read every single email you get from me? No. Wish you did, but you don't. It's normal. Okay. So I guess that's how it goes. And here's another one. Okay. If someone gets on your list, you got to nurture them, right? You want to nurture them. Give them content. Okay. Send them a lot of content first by email. No. Dumbest thing ever. They're opting in as a lead because you have the solution to a problem. They want that problem solved yesterday. Offer your solution immediately. Okay, so that's the deal when it comes to getting leads. Like, there ain't no reason to overcomplicate this. All right, like, they opt in, whether it's an appointment, webinar, white paper, whatever. Give them your solution as soon as humanly possible. Okay, so by the way, building a list It's not that hard. I don't know what the deal is with people trying to make this out to be a thing, but we've got a group for our customers and clients and stuff in Facebook. And I took some screenshots from folks. Here's a fella never did it before. He was running ads. And so all of these are just from ads because it's easier to show the stats for you, but you can do it for free from social media too, using what I was telling you. But look at this dude. He's paying 27 cents per lead. All right. It's not hard. All right. And so here's another one. This was paying 42 cents per lead, 67 cents per lead. Here's another one. This one's paying 5 cents per lead. I mean, that's nothing, right? Here's another one, 36 cents per lead. Here's another one, 66 cents. I mean, it's not hard, right? There's like getting people to opt in for stuff. It's not a big deal. It's not rocket science. I don't know why people are trying to overcomplicate this for you. You just get attention and say, hey, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can go opt in for this thing and get free information. It is not a big deal. So getting attention, people are making it way too complicated. It's not that hard. You're getting bad advice. I showed you what to do. Getting a lead, people are making it overcomplicated. It's not that hard. You're getting bad advice. I've shown you what to do. The third thing in the core four is make an offer. All right, you got to have a pitch. Obviously we want to sell something, and this is where people start getting freaked out. And it's understandable that people get freaked out here because here's the deal, right? So the experts are going to tell you, dude, you got to convert or die. Like you have to have the highest conversion rate ever. Everything's about conversion rate on your sales page. And the more, if you want to get a good conversion rate, you got to have a hard hitting headline. And then, you got to make the biggest promise in the world. And then you have to have 500 million testimonials. And then you have to have like an amazing story. And it's got to be really captivating. And then you have to have this like unique angle and this unique idea and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, no. Wrong. Look, listen to this guy. Don't listen to me. Listen to this guy. This is the greatest advertising genius in history. He's my personal hero. He's got a famous quote. He says, the consumer is not a moron. She's your wife. Don't insult their intelligence. You do not need to have all of that stuff. It's insulting to the person reading your pitch. And so if it's hard for you to write sales letters or create sales videos or do webinars, it's because you're hearing all this kind of stuff and it doesn't jive well with you internally because you don't want to insult people's intelligence either. So let me show you a super simple structure here. All right, here's how to do this. And this is the type of simplicity we use in the core four. So first thing, if you want to get somebody's attention, like with the headline or whatever, whether it's a video or webinar or sales letter or anything, I've had great luck with this quote unquote magic formula. Here it is. Let's say this is for a letter or something. Read this if you want whatever the result is, so read this if you want more customers from the internet. Swear to God, that little headline formula works great. It's simple. It's to the point. I didn't invent it. I stole it because one day I was walking around and I saw this book on a bookshelf and at a bookstore. And I was like, that's the greatest title I've ever seen for a book. And I have zero interest in photography, by the way. But I was like, dude, I wonder if that like just plain and simple language would work in ads. Read this if you want to lose weight. Read this if you want more customers. Or read this if you want a better garden, whatever. So I decided to test it. And that is the go-to headline formula that I use. It's not a crazy claim. It's not creative. It's straight and to the point, right? Because the consumer is not a moron. She's your wife, meaning you do not want to insult their intelligence. Okay. You want to treat people like you would want to be treated. And so once you get their attention, the actual pitch follows these three steps. Hey, if you want to, let's just say it's the pictures thing. If you want to take great photographs, here's what I got. It's this book about taking pictures of photographs. Now, the next part is here's what it'll do for you. So here's how this book is going to help you. You're going to learn A, B, and C. And then the third stage is here's what I want you to do next. Like click the link to order or whatever. It really is that simple. And so why am I telling you like, hey, just keep it really simple and not caring about conversion so much? The reason why is because the ugly truth is it doesn't matter how awesome your sales letter is. Most people who read it, whether it's a sales letter, video, webinar, or whatever, most people who see it, they're not going to buy immediately. Right? They just don't. It's normal. Otherwise you would have a 51% conversion rate. You'd be the greatest copywriter in history. So if we know they're not going to buy immediately anyway, you might as well not sacrifice the relationship by making overhyped, crazy promises and stuff, because at the end of the day, here's the stuff that actually matters. You get attention, you do it the right way. So they like you to begin with, right? And then they opt in. and they're opting in some capacity because they have a problem that you can solve. So you want to immediately show them the solution. And in your offer, right, you don't want to insult them. And if you've done all of this, some people are going to buy straight away. That's great. If you're doing a great job, let's say it's 5%, 10%, whatever. If it's 10%, that means 90% haven't bought. But if you've done these first three steps right, they still like you after they've seen that offer. And that means you can now follow up with them. And this is where the true magic actually happens. So in Core 4, we have a huge emphasis on follow up, because that's if we know for sure that no matter how good your offer is, most people aren't going to buy right away. It's only logical that, okay, we should do a pretty good job of following up, right? So when it comes to email follow up, here's what they tell you. All right. And versus what to actually do. They're going to say, all right, man, you need to create a nurture sequence. That is like the worst advice ever. Nobody reads a nurture sequence. I mean, do you? No, of course not, right? What you need to do is create an offer sequence like, hey, here's that thing. Remember, you opted in, you have this problem, you want a solution. Here's the solution. Don't forget about it, right? And they'll tell you, oh, you want to send a newsletter every week or every month or whatever. No, you don't. Nobody's going to read that. Do you? Like, think of your own behavior. Do you read nurture sequences? Do you read newsletters all the time? No, right? That's not how email works. The consumer doesn't read email for content. We use email for short, to the point communication. That's why you want to send an offer every week at minimum. Hey, if you can do it, send one every day if you've got the bandwidth. But at the very least, you want to make an offer to your leads every single week. And then there's the worst, which is don't email too much. No, terrible. People aren't reading the emails, right? The average consumer gets over 200 emails a day. They don't read them all. So you want to email all the time, not because you're obnoxious, but because most people aren't reading the emails. So you have to constantly be in the inbox. And finally, this is the worst one. Hey, you got to worry about those unsubscribes. No, you don't. You need to worry about sales. All right. I just showed you. It's not rocket science to get somebody on your email list. It's easy. So don't worry about unsubscribes. Worry about sales. Right. And so that's how follow-up works. It's so crazy how important this is. I'll tell you a story. I went to do a keynote speech for Russell Brunson. He was telling me about this 2 Comma Club Live, like online event he did, and what they sell there and everything. I was like, dude, that's great. Russell's so great at making an offer. Like step number 3, like get attention, get a lead, make an offer. Like he is so good at the make an offer thing. So I'm like, what do you do after the event? How do you follow up? And he's like, what are you talking about? We don't follow up. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So he had paid me $100,000 to go speak at one of his events and do some other stuff. And I was like, dude, I'll just write it for you because I like Russell and I just wanted to help him. And, I don't know. I just wrote, I'm like, screw it. I'll just write, literally, I'll write a 4-day email follow-up sequence for you. And so I wrote it for him. I had him proof it and everything. And he sent it out. And I communicated with Voxer before I made these slides for you. I was like, dude, didn't this thing convert at 28%? And he's like, yeah, man, 28%. And so I'm like, I'm going to exploit you as best I can when I'm teaching people about follow-up here. And here's the deal. The thing he was selling was $25,000. So that extra 28% increase in sales he got, that added up to almost 7 figures in revenue. Like that 4th pillar follow-up, that may very well be the most important figure. Here's another example. This is one of my clients, Enrique Degadillo. This guy's awesome, by the way, super cool dude. And so he's worked with me for years. He's a private client. And so I was making these slides. I'm like, hey, man, can I talk to you about how we work together to improve your follow-up? Because that's really the number one thing that we did in his business. And this was his response. He's like, specifically what I did that you taught me were 3 things, and they more than doubled my business. Number 1, use branding content while making offers. Incidentally, that's step number 1, getting attention. And so I'll tell you about that later. And then number 2, make offers more often. And number 3, do more of what worked. All of that is follow-up. He says that took me from $800,000, not 8K, he meant to put 800K, to 2.2 million last year, looking to grow to 10 million this year. All right. And so again, like I'm not saying this is an income claim, you're going to make any money or do anything. I have no idea. My point is that pillar right there, that one is really, really a big deal. So, the Core 4 process, like obviously works. It's really simple. You get attention, but not the way people are telling you to, not pointlessly, not blindly, not spending 7 million hours on social media. And then you turn that attention into a lead. All right, which is really, really simple. I showed you some screenshots of how easy it is for some people. Then you make an offer and you don't drive yourself crazy trying to make a high pressure, perfect offer. You just do the best you can because you know that no matter how good the dang thing is, most people aren't going to buy it immediately because that's human nature. And therefore, you follow up. And yes, I know this is simple. And the reason we keep it simple is because simple is good, right? Keeping things simple is what allowed Josh, that client I told you about, that wanted to help his dad. That's exactly what he did to go, to help his dad literally have the best year ever, which is fantastic. Simple is what helped Rob. Again, that's such an embarrassing picture, but whatever is what helped Rob during Corona. Well, this is from 2019, so we start out working really, really well. All right, and then literally just got this text from him right before I was making these very slides for you. And so he goes, "I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but since meeting Frank Kern, my sales are up 91%." He says, "Seriously, dude, sales are up 400 grand in 2 months." So it's because we kept everything simple, right? We didn't do 9 billion things. We found what worked and we did what worked. This is why Val, that I showed you from Instagram, I've never even spoken to Val. This is why starting in January 2020, things start working out really, really good by January 2021, still working. Right. This is why I'm getting these random messages on Instagram from folks that I don't know. And again, like none of this stuff is meant to be an income claim. I haven't talked to these dudes. I haven't verified what they're telling me. I believe them. There's no reason for them to make it up. But this is the thing. It is the core four, right? This is why I was able to take a simple little Facebook post or an Instagram post. I posted across both of them at the same time. And on one day, have it result in $2,249 in sales, right? It's the same approach that I helped Russell with that got him 28% more sales just from one pillar of the core four, which is follow up. Same thing with Enrique, right? And so if you're ready to finally use the internet to get a consistent stream of customers and like not do 20 million things and not waste your time and not be frustrated and overwhelmed, you got two choices. The first path is it's complicated. And that is you can try to figure it out yourself, which you're probably doing now, which is why you're here, because that takes forever. And you spend a lot of money testing a lot of stuff. And, maybe some of it works, maybe it doesn't. I hope it does. Though, if you go down that path, I genuinely hope that it does work out for you. The second path is something that's more structured and it's a lot faster and it's really simple. You find someone who's done this and then you get them to show you what they did and then you get them to help you do it. And that's kind of the most important thing there is actually get them to help you, not just show you, but actually help you do it. So if you would like me to help you build an audience and as a result, build a brand and become well known by using the attention getting strategies that I just talked about with those 3 types of posts, I'll go into greater depth about those in a minute. And if you want me to help you build a list and then create your offers, and with the full knowledge that it's not going to convert every single person that sees it. So therefore, help you create a system that follows up with people automatically so you can sell more stuff, then the Core 4 class is without question for you. This is literally, I'm teaching you in this class the exact same strategies and tactics that I use with my private clients that pay me 40 grand, like Enrique that I just showed you. He did that twice, right? 80 grand total from that one client, right? So it's the same strategies that I'm using with private clients that pay a fortune to help you do this, right? It's all about just over the course of 30 days. That's what the Core 4 class is. It helps you do these 3 things over the course of 30 days. Become well known, then build a list, and then sell that list a lot of stuff. Right. That's the whole purpose of the Core 4. And we do it without overwhelm. So let me walk you through the steps of it. All right. So in terms of getting you known, we're primarily going to use Facebook and Instagram, and as an option, if you want to, YouTube. And here's the thing, right? And so I've referenced them before, but there's only 3 types of posts, okay, that you ever need to be making. And you want to ideally, give or take, try to make 1 of each type of post every day. And if you miss a day, you're going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. And so those posts are connection posts, how-to posts, and offer posts. And I give you the frameworks for each one. All right, so there's no guesswork. So the connection post is meant to really build the bond with your audience. A how-to post is meant to demonstrate you can help them by actually helping them. That's what causes engagement. And then an offer post is like the one that I showed you. So I don't just tell you like about these posts. I give you the frameworks. I give you scripting outlines, and I give you templates. for all three. So you literally know exactly what to do. Like there's no stone left unturned here. And we keep it really, really simple, not to insult your intelligence or anything, but for me, simple is good. Like why complicate things? Let's just get it done, you know? And then the second phase of this is getting a list, right? So in getting a list, what you're going to learn is number one, what do you say specifically in your social media, either whether it's organic posts and stuff or your social media ads, to get people to want to opt in and drive them to your landing page. And then what do you offer them in return for their information? Should it be a webinar? Should it be a free report? If so, how do you build it? And then finally, what we go through is how do we take those people who have opted in and how do we send them to your offer? All right. And so that's the second phase of this. And we don't overcomplicate it. We're not going to do a billion things. Nothing's hard. We're going to keep it super simple because simple is good and simple works. Right. I couldn't have been in business since 1999. I worked with 82,000 and counting people doing something really complicated. I don't have that mental capacity. So we're driving all these people now, you know, they're your leads, they're on your list. We're driving them to an offer. And that's our third step is how do you make an offer? Well, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a core framework. It's expanded version of the 3-step framework I gave you earlier, right? So of course, like obviously you need a guarantee and I'll show you how to use bonuses and all that kind of cool stuff. So there's a core framework to making any sort of offer ever. And then I'm going to teach you 4 angles that you can make that offer from. And so I'll tell you what the 4 angles now. There's the direct offer, which is like, hey, here's what I got. Here's what it'll do for you. Here's what I got to do next, right? So really basic. Then there is the how-to angle. That's what this is. By the way, it's educational, right? You're teaching people stuff while making an offer at the same time. There are 2 more advanced types. One's a story-based offer, and the other is a news-based offer. So I'm going to teach you how to use all 4 of these angles, right? And the reason why is because you might want to use all 4 of them in your follow-up. So the follow-up part is really, really simple. We're going to use automation to just take all of the people who are on your list and consistently send them to your offer using different angles, right? And so this is really where the rubber meets the road. And the good news about this is it is not complicated. Okay. So you don't have to write a billion emails. As a matter of fact, there are only 2 types of email sequences that we use in the Core 4 methodology, period. And these are what my clients use. These are what I use personally. There are only 2 types of sequence. The number one is called a click sequence. That's where in your emails, you say, hey, go look at this thing, right? Like, so if you want to send someone to a new offer, you're like, hey, I got this new offer, go check it out. That's it. It's called a click sequence. The goal there, you'd never guess by the graphic, is to get somebody to click. The second type of email sequence is a countdown sequence. That's when you're using a deadline. Why do we use deadlines? Because deadlines work. That's it. It's the only 2 types of email sequences you use in this whole follow-up game. I'll even use the stuff that I wrote for Russell as a point of reference to give you an idea of how to do this. And by the way, none of this stuff is overwhelming. Each lesson is short, is actionable, is up to date. And here's the deal. By the time you implement the steps that I give you during this 30-day training, you're going to have an engaged audience of people who are interested in what you have. That's thing number 1. You will have the attention of your marketplace. They will know who you are and they will like you based on those 3 types of social posts you're making. You're going to have an email list, right? So you're going to be generating leads. You already saw it's really not that hard. So all the stuff people are trying to do to overcomplicate it, if you got this, I'm telling you, this is like not that big of a deal. You're going to have an offer. That offer is not going to be perfect. I've never written a perfect offer in my life. The more important thing is you're going to have an offer that still maintains the bond with people and does some degree of the selling for you. And then you're going to have an automated system that follows up with people until they buy. And look, here's the deal. You can go through the class as many times you want from any device that's connected to the internet, doesn't matter. And hey, if you want to get someone else on your team to go through this class and do all this stuff for you, that's fine too. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine, Natalie Jill, she's actually closer friends with Natalia, my wife, than she is with me. She was over at dinner the other night. This was closer to New Year's, actually. So it was in January. She came over and she was like kind of bummed out. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, man, we got this new promotion. It's not working. So during the course of about 15 minutes, I was like, oh, here's how to fix it. Here's exactly what to do. She's like, hang on. And she's literally messaging her assistant. She calls him an integrator. She was messaging her integrator, like giving the integrator instructions. And so, I follow up with her a couple of days later. I'm like, hey, what's going on? She goes, your changes, we sold 160 at full price. Since your changes, the program started today, but we're keeping it on with a late registration. Thank you so much. And then I follow up again. I'm like, where are you at in revenue? And she's like, my brain hurts right now, but last time I checked, we're about $70,000, which was awesome. And then she goes on to say, hey, I worship everything you taught me. It turned our whole launch around, even did and then I'm blocking out the super secret tactic there that I just don't want to show anybody unless they're in my training. And then she goes, thank you again. Question, my integrator, that's her person she delegates to, bought a bunch of your products. She's going through them now. What's the best of your programs you would suggest for a marketing or integrating person? She wants to get it. And do you still have the private client group or not anymore? Right. And so she didn't do all of this stuff personally. She just had somebody else do it. She literally was just like, I saw her doing it because she was at my house. I was telling her what to do. And then she was telling her marketing person to do it. So you can totally delegate this stuff if you want to. The bottom line is, look, if you're ready to learn how to use my simple processes, this is definitely for you. So you're probably wondering about the price. I would be. Retail price for this training is $19.97. And if that sounds expensive, I want you to think about how much people are charging right now for less. Literally, I saw a class that was advertised, and it was only about getting Instagram followers, which what the hell are you going to do with followers? You need an engaged audience, not followers. And that was $19.97. Just that one little thing alone. And it was selling because it had that little proof thing, it's like, hey, so-and-so from wherever just bought the thing. It was selling for close to $2,000. And all that was about was getting Instagram followers. And I saw another one that was only about getting a list, and that was selling for $497. Trainers charge $3,000 just to teach you how to create an offer, just to teach you copywriting strategies. And let me tell you something, writing copy is really, 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 really hard. Like being a top level copywriter, it's very, very difficult. That's why it's so expensive to go through those trainings. I don't think there's any point to it because it doesn't matter how good your copy is. Most people aren't going to buy. The real magic is in the follow-up. And it's in how they feel about you before they ever even become a lead, which is what we do in that getting you known part. And then when it comes to following up, my friend Ryan, he sold a zillion copies of a course about email follow-up for $2,000 per person. And you know what? I think all of these things are worth the money, except maybe that Instagram followers thing. I'm not too sold on that idea, right? But generally speaking, like all these other trainings I'm referencing, they're pretty freaking good, But here's the deal. Like this class teaches you everything they teach, but a whole lot more. And by the way, remember this, where Natalie was like, hey, do you still do private client group? Because we just made a bunch of money following the advice that you took 15 minutes to give us. That group is $40,000. And in this training, I'm giving you the exact same information that I give my private clients. So the retail price point on this is like a no-brainer. And consider the cost of like not doing it. So what if you don't take this training and you just like keep on going? And you're trying a bunch of things and you're overwhelmed and you're making 50 billion Facebook posts a day. What's it costing you to not have a well-known brand, for your customers not to know you and like you and trust you and respect you and want to do business with you? What's it costing you not to have an email list? Do you know how great it is to have an email list, to be able to write an offer and hit send to an email list and sell stuff and have it cost you nothing to do that? Like, that's the greatest thing ever. What's it costing you not to have a solid offer? Or even worse, to have this like sense of procrastination and perfectionism because writing an offer is so freaking hard, then it freaks you out. So you'd never get around to doing it. Like, that's horrible, right? So what's it costing you to be stuck there? And what's it costing you not to have a follow-up system that keeps on selling for you? What will it cost you to be left behind, right? I mean, look, you have to do these 4 things. This is what makes every internet customer acquisition system work, period. This is how things are sold online. Doesn't matter what you're selling. Could be cars, could be clothes, could be coaching. Doesn't matter, right? So what's it going to cost you to be left behind? Look, and the fact that you're watching this very long video shows that you're serious. So here's what we're going to do. My mission since 1999 and my team's mission is one simple thing, and that's to help entrepreneurs get customers from the internet consistently. Our favorite thing in the world is to see our students win. So if you're willing to invest in yourself today, I'm willing to invest in you. So right now, as you're watching this, you'll notice there's a deadline timer on this page. I'm going to give you $1,000 discount. I'm going to drop the price to just $997. And look, this is literally the exact strategies I was personally using and have been using since '99 to grow my own business. It's done well over 8 figures in sales and counting. You're going to the same strategies that Val used. to increase revenue by 100%. And look, I mean, again, this isn't a flash in the pan. His first message to me was 2020. Last screenshot I took was 2021. He just contacted me recently because I asked him if it was cool to use this story. And he was like, yeah, dude, of course. Same strategies that Rob in Florida used to have his best year ever selling furniture during freaking COVID. Are you kidding me? And look, I mean, Rob started with me in 2019. It was working in 2019. And then, like, April 30th of 2020, you can see that third little screenshot there. He did 70 grand the month in sales. April 30th, which is awesome because it was right in the middle of Corona. No one could leave their house. He was showing people furniture over FaceTime on his phone. Like, what? And then, like, the most recent text after I asked him if I could use the story, he's like, sure, man. My sales were up 91%, 400 grand in 2 months. Is this an income claim? No, it's not. I'm not telling you you're going to do that. I don't know anything about your business, right? My point is different businesses have used this methodology and it's working pretty good. Same strategies I help with Josh, my private client. So, I mean, this is one of my favorite stories for multiple reasons. Number one, Josh didn't know a damn thing about home remodeling. That's what his dad's business is. Number two, Josh is in Florida. His dad is in North Carolina. Number three, his dad's old, like me, older than me, probably, because Josh is like not too much younger than me. So, his dad's not an internet guy. He's a contractor. And so he's like, it's internet stuff. So there are different states. Dude, it's not an internet style business and it's during freaking Corona. And my favorite thing, this is going to be my dad's best year ever. How cool is that? For a son to be able to help his father have his best year ever in the middle of a recession, right? In the middle of the coronavirus, when it's on a lockdown, people are paying this kind of money to have their homes remodeled. Like, what are you talking about? That's nuts. Exact same stuff that Russell used to get the extra 28% lift. The exact same strategies I gave Enrique that helped him almost triple the business, which is just fantastic. It's the exact same stuff I advised Natalie Jill to do that time when she was at my house. It took 15 minutes. It's not complicated, right? I'm not going to teach you 70 billion different things to try. I'm going to teach you 4 core pillars. That's it, right? The core 4. That is the magic there. And what's great about when you learn all this stuff is you can't unlearn it. It's not like it just goes away. This is a skill that you have forever. So isn't it worth $997 to acquire the skill set? But there's one little catch to this $1,000 discount, and that's it. That expires at midnight. You see the timer on the page, right? So when that timer hits 0, it's over. And look, most people, they'll be like, and the reason I'm doing this deadline is because I only like to work with decisive people. And that's why I have this deadline. Yeah, whatever, dude. Look, 2008 called. It wants your lame ass sales script back. I'm using the deadline because deadlines work, right? The only reason I have that deadline there is because they work. They've been proven to work over and over again. And that's what you can expect about this class. I'm giving you stuff that's been proven to work over and over again. The same thing I've been perfecting and honing since October of 1999. It's just worked for me. I've had 82,000 and counting customers. This is the strategy that's just working over and over again. And so, in addition to this 50% discount, I want to make this a completely safe decision for you. Look, if you're like me, you don't want to take unnecessary risks. Like entrepreneurs, we like to spend our time and energy on something that we know for sure is going to work. Like that's the ideal. Like, okay, I definitely know this is gonna work. But I don't know your business, so I'm not going to guarantee any sort of results because, like, I literally have no idea what you're selling. I'm talking into my computer right now, right? But here's what I can guarantee you, and that is your happiness. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you a 60-day money back guarantee. And so I want you to go through the whole thing, like literally like use everything. You can go through the entire class 2 times in 60 days. So get as much value as you can. And then decide. I'm just asking to give it a fair shake. Like actually try it. And look, at the end of that, if you don't think it's a fit, just email us, support@frankkernhelpdesk.com. I'll give you 100% refund. That's it. No one's going to call you. There's no survey to take. There's no hoops to jump through. It's like, okay, off you go. So there's literally like no way you can lose here, which is why you need to enroll right now. You see the stuff on the screen, go ahead, click the button. Let's get you registered. After you fill out the registration form and hit the submit button, you're going to get sent your username and password right away. And be sure to forward this to your CPA, your receipt, because typically, and consult a professional, but usually this type of training is a write-off, which is awesome, right? So that makes it even more of a no-brainer. as a recap, when you join today, you're going to be enrolled in the 30-day program where I'm going to take you step by step and show you how to get well known, how to build a list, how to make a good offer, and how to follow up automatically so you can consistently get customers from the internet. We're not going to waste time with a bunch of million other things. We're focusing on getting you well known, getting you a list, and getting you customers consistently. It's the same information that my clients pay me $40,000 per year for. Same strategies that Val used, same strategies that Rob used, same strategies that Josh used, exact same stuff. I only showed Russell one thing, so I just did follow-up stuff and showed him how to do that. I can't believe he wasn't doing that. Seriously, Brunson? Come on, you're a pro, man. But same thing, that helped him get an extra 28% lift. By the way, what's really cool about that follow-up sequence? He can keep using it forever. That's awesome, right? Same strategies I gave Enrique, same stuff I gave Natalie Jill. And you know what? You're getting $1,000 discount as well. But again, that offer is only good until the deadline expires. It's right here on this page. So enroll right now and save $1,000. Plus, as you know, I'm giving you a 60-day money back guarantee. So you can use this whole thing with no risk at all. So go ahead, click the enroll now button and save $1,000. Oh, I forgot to mention. This is obviously a sales presentation, and no good sales presentation could possibly exist without bonuses. What kind of marketer would I be if I didn't have bonuses? And so when I was thinking about this, I was like, what could make this the most valuable thing ever? Right. And here's my guess. You've probably taken trainings before. Like, this isn't your first presentation you've watched. This won't be the first class you've enrolled in. And maybe they've been amazing. Maybe they haven't. The thing that I know that really, really helps is actual help from a real person. And that's what I'm going to give you as a bonus. During this course, you can participate in small group Zoom sessions with my team, and we will personally help you. That means we're going to go over your messaging strategy. So we'll go over your Facebook accounts, your Instagram accounts. We'll help review your posts. We'll help you brainstorm ways to maximize your results using those 3 types of different posts. We'll help you with all that. We'll help you with your lead magnet. We'll help you figure out what to say in your opt-in pages to get leads. We'll help you build your list. All that kind of stuff you get personal help from. We'll help you with your offer. Figure out, hey, what should you say in your headline? Should you use a webinar? Should you use a sales letter? Should you use a video? We'll help you with the sales page. We'll help you brainstorm your copy. All of that. We'll help you with your email sequences. There's only 2 types of email sequences, but still, like, how do you do it? How do you automate it? How do you tie it all together? We'll help you with all of that kind of stuff. And you know what? This personal help, this is literally worth thousands of dollars. I know of one very famous program. It's 25 grand a year. And this is basically what they sell, which is small group help with putting your sales process together. And you know what? The thing about that program, it's actually worth the money. It's freaking good. But what would you rather do? Would you rather pay 25 grand or get it for free from me? This is another reason why this class is limited, by the way. It's important to me and to my team that you're really, really, really overjoyed with your experience. And if we can't deliver an amazing experience for you if we have too many people in this class at the same time, because my team is small. Here's the deal. Actually, the people who are going to help you, like personally help you over these small Zoom calls, these are full-time in-house employees of mine. They've been with me for years. And they earn over 6 figures a year to help my students. So you need to understand that it's like when you're working with us, I'm not passing you off to some outsourced coach who works on commission or something. This is the same team that helps me with my $40,000 per year private clients, same team that's works with my $10,000 per month branding clients, and same team that works with the clients who pay us a $20,000 retainer just to build out a sales system for them. So the value of this one bonus alone, it's exponentially worth more than the already low cost of this class. So you're probably like, dude, why would you do this? Like if I were you, my radar would be like, okay, wait a minute. This is a little too much here. Why is Kern giving all this stuff to me to get me to take this class? And the answer is simple. I've been in business since 1999. Most of my customers are repeat customers. So for me, this is a little bit self-serving. It's a simple matter of good business sense. Look, here's what evidence has shown for me is when you have an incredible experience with us, chances are you're going to want to become a customer for years, right? And so the statistics have shown, I got 22 years to back it up in our company. If someone comes in, they have a great experience, they continue to be a customer for a long time. And so that's why I'm willing to make this investment and making sure that you're overjoyed with your results, right? And so all you need to do at this point, click the link and fill out the registration form. You're going to get instant access to the Core 4 training. And look, if you change your mind or whatever, then during over 60 days, you got my guarantee to back you up. So look, you've watched this video. Admittedly, it's pretty long, but I want to help you in the sales video as well. You've seen that it's possible to use the methods I teach you to get more customers and leads and sales. I want to invite you one last time to participate in this priceless training so you can start building your business and change your life in the process. I made sure this is a completely safe decision for you to make without any risk whatsoever. So click on the registration page and get started. I cannot stress enough how powerful this training is. But when you couple it with the bonuses and the fact that you can get on a small group Zoom call and actually have a professional help you implement everything, there's just an unprecedented value. Nobody has really ever offered anything like this before. And so not only are you going to get the exact same strategies I personally use and share with my private clients, on top of that, my team is helping you implement what you learn live in small group video conferences over Zoom. And look, when I say small group, I don't mean like, oh, it's only 200 people. No, each one of these little conferences is super small. Like we rarely have more than 8 people. And you really do get hands-on training with help with anything that you need. So you're getting all of this, plus you're saving 50% on the price. And you're protected by a 60-day happiness guarantee. But remember, that deadline is real. So when the timer, expires and the clock strikes midnight, this offer expires. So enroll right now, save $1,000, and I look forward to seeing you in the class. And please send me your results. I would love to feature you in a video like this. Look, thanks so much for watching this. I really appreciate your attention. I know your time is very, very valuable. When you invest your time in this training with me, I know that you will find it to be one of the smartest and best investments you've ever made in your skills and in your business. So thank you once again. Go ahead and click the enroll button right now, and let's get to work. The timer's ticking off, and when it hits 0, this page will expire. All right, take it easy.